Welcome to the first video of me trying to build a GPA app in C# programming. I am so excited to share this journey with you, and it's actually the first time I do videos like this. In this first of its kind video, I am so excited to share with you this progress that I will be making while making this GPA app using C#. Keep in mind that this is still very primitive. The idea is there, and as we go through, as the episodes of the videos come through, we'll see if I'll actually be making progress throughout the course of the semester, or I'll just be, wasting my time. So without wasting too much time, let me just give you a little bit of a backstory on why I decided to create a GPA app. Right, so the real reason why I started to have ideas for this GPA app, it's because I am seriously a meticulous person. During the semester or during the course of the academic year, it's always easier to see if your class mark is actually going towards the mark that you always want for each and every course or for every module, right? So in this case, I was like, okay, what if I could just create a program that is going to, every time I write a quiz and I get the mark, I will just enter into the program, and then every time I wrote a test, I would just run the program and then enter the mark. And then I went and refined my idea, and I wanted to also include minutes. So what do I mean by trying to include minutes? Each and every module that every one of us do, especially if you're in university, it has its own credits. So if it is an 8-credit module, it means you're supposed to be doing at least 5 hours a week in that module. And if it's maybe a 12-credit module, that means you're supposed to be doing 96 minutes. I think I remember doing my calculations, and it was 96 minutes a week. So that's an hour and 36 minutes. I was like, okay, I need a way to keep track of how many minutes I'm doing, because better time management will most definitely be helpful in university. So I was like, okay, I want to be better with my time management, and if I can just find a way to track the way I am spending my time, because I saw that, okay, I was spending too much time coding and doing programming projects, and I was not doing, for example, accounting as much as I was doing programming, or I was not doing economics as much as I was doing programming. So I was like, okay, I need a way to track my time, my minutes, my actual minutes, so I can be able to manage my time well. So that's the background of the idea. So in this walkthrough, I'm going to show you how the first version of my program looked like. I'll try to recreate the code, although I had deleted some of the code because I was now in the stages of creating classes and objects. But I will try to recreate and show you how my code looked like. I know it's going to be weird, but let me show you how my code actually looked like, the first version of it, and then we'll move to the second version, because I did change it quite a lot, and because I wanted efficiency, and so I did change it. So there's a first version and there's a second version, and I think so far I think currently I'm in the third version of the code. That's where I'm implementing classes and objects. Let me show you the first version of the code. I was declaring my variables. As you can see, we have the module codes, that's maths, accounting, and whatnot, right? So, and then you would have me trying to add up the minutes for each and every module. This is just a proxy of the real code, by the way. It wasn't exactly like this, because there was a section for minutes and there was a section for adding up your marks, and there was actually a calculation for my year mark. So now let's try to run this program, and to run my program I clicked F5, and this is the result. So I would get something like this: year X, maybe you could be in year 1 or year 2, or whatever year you're in. So you'd have your calculations behind the scenes, and then for weekly minutes, that would be week X, and you can imagine that I would have blocks of code of weeks here. And I think, if I remember correctly, the code for all, like the 12th to 13th week, I think the code was around 500 lines of code, right? This is the first version. It's just that I can't totally recreate it now. It would waste a lot of time, but the code was just too long, right? So now let's try to recreate version 2. I hope this gave you an idea of how the app is supposed to look like. We're supposed to be spending 300 minutes in mathematics, 300 in all that, and 480 in these ones. and in total you get that. So I want to be able to benchmark the time that I spend on each module to its result that I get. So if I see that I was spending too much time on accounting but I am not really performing on it, so it means I have to change my strategies and maybe try to allocate time better to other modules. Now let's see how the second version looks. So luckily for the second version, I think I still have some code from the second version and it looked similar to this. So the second version was, now that I knew about methods, I was like, okay, let me just try to create multiple methods. Let me show you something. So you see this method right here, static void yearly GPA. So I was like, okay, I will take this part. Let me just take this part and send it to the GPA method. So I would come and have this yearly GPA and just put it here. And I was like, okay, I'll just call the method if I want to use it. So everything that I would be doing right in the main, like adding up the marks, adding up the minutes, I would now add up in individual methods. So that was the idea. I was like, okay, I'm trying to create some abstraction because I don't want my main method to be too long. So in other words, this part was not there because I'll show you the minutes in a second. And this as well was not there. So let's remove this. Right, so here's what we would have. So we would have the method call. Like yearly GPA. So I would be like, okay, this is yearly GPA. Let me just call it like that. So if I wanted to display my marks or my progress, I would just call up the method. So this was just insane. So after doing this, after collapsing all this, I would tell myself that at least now it looks cleaner. But in my mind, I knew that, okay, that was not really efficient, right? So I wanted efficiency. So I went online, and that's when I started learning about classes and objects. That was before we even did classes and objects in my programming class. I was like, okay, maybe I can try to use classes and objects to create this version of the app, right? So that was the second version of this app, right? So it was just creating methods and calling the methods up. Now let's try to call week 6. Now let's try running this and see how it look like. Right, so you see in week 8 I spent 100 minutes in mathematics and whatever, 30 in accounting. I was spending a lot of time in accounting last semester. That's weird. But you see that this is the idea. So I'll just call up the relative method or the respective method, and I would just have the data just presented to me in the console. So that was the idea. Right, so I've noticed that the video is getting a little bit long, so I'm trying to keep the episodes of these series to be short. In the next video, we'll be talking about how we'll be using classes and objects to create more abstractions to my code. Stay tuned for the next video, and be sure to like and subscribe. I usually post videos each and every week. It's mostly Friday. So if the series is starting now, it means in the following weeks, I'll be putting up another video and you'll be notified whenever I post the second part and the third part. Maybe you may want to share this video with people who are in this journey or who may be interested. So that's it from me, and I will see you in the next video. Remember to keep education fashionable.